Hello explorers and welcome to another video. Today I have not prepared any specific subject, so I'm gonna do some coding and just create something that could be fun to learn a little bit more about. So I'm gonna use Jsoup and I'm gonna create something that will print some Braille text. So first off, we need to start with a project. So we will create a new project here. There it goes. We got this little box here for a new project. And I'm going to start a new Maven project. I will click next down here. So next, I will give it a group ID. And that is totally up to you. And I will have it web to Braille. Let's have that as a name for it, and I will create that. So this will create a new project for me and start IntelliJ with that project. So there we go. Now we are getting started here. So this will open up a project with my POM file, and there is nothing in this POM file. It's totally empty. So first up we need some dependencies. So I will create a new tag here. Dependencies. And here I will go to the web, look at the site for Maven repositories, and I will copy in Jsoup here. So I have this library. And this is the only library I will need for this little example. So I will update my dependencies and it should create, so there I have it downloaded and ready to use. So now we'll create a package name over here. Let's do that. Not an XML file. I need a package. And I can just start a simple package, and here we have this class web to Braille. So that's our goal. It's a simple, silly little project, but it should be something that will show some techniques at least. So let's do some void here, main, string, args, and we should have those before there. This is the right setup for getting a system out. Print line. Hello. Let's just run that. So we have our setup ready to actually create something and see that we can actually run this project. So it takes a little while to build and put all the dependencies in order, and then it should show us hello if everything works. Yep. So now we know that we have something that we can work on. So let's see if we can find Jsoup here. Jsoup, new Jsoup. Could that be something? No. Parse, and it wants a URL and some timeout millis. So we will create an URL. This is URL, new URL, and let's put HTTP example.com. So let's put that in, and then URL here. Is that how you do it? Throws malformed URL exception, So let's, for this example, just handle all the kinds of exceptions that we can encounter and just give us some stack trace for those. And so no new here. And this parse, so it wants a string, and it will give us a document. Doc. but there should be something for a URL, right? Connect to URL, okay. Parse, URL, oh, okay, yeah. We forgot the timeout in milliseconds, so let's say 30,000 perhaps? What's the problem? Yeah, we got the wrong document. Let's remove that. And let's get the right document import. So, now we have the body and we have some elements probably. And I want to, on example.com, you have some text that is probably inside of a p tag. We could go in there and actually look for it, but I will guess that it's in a p tag, so you should be able to get elements by ID, get elements by tag should be the correct one, and the tag should be p tag. So let's see, then we should get, what do we get back? We get elements. So elements, how can we use these elements? And we have some has text, children perhaps. No. Last, we have a get that gets a specific index. Could we have a size? Yeah, we have. So let's see how large this is if we get one p tag or even more. Let's try that out. Some trial and error. I don't believe that we will take, it's 2 p tags. Shall we do the easy part and just take one of them? So we get the first one. I guess that's index 0. And that will retrieve the element. So let's get an element here. So we could loop through these and get all elements. But I'm just interested in the main text, and I believe that's the first of these. So let's see. We get some text here. This is a domain for the use to illustrate examples in documents. Yay! So we actually got some text there. So now I need to do some preparation and create a little bit of a map so that I can use for this example. I'll be right back. And I'm back, and I have created first off this little string here for the uppercase character, and that's a specific character that we will use a bit later. And then I have created a map down here to map all the letters and the punctuation to the specific Braille character. And Braille is actually Unicodes that starts with 28 in hex. And then you have some number through the whole alphabet. And the first part up to 128 is actually the first 6 dots. And then you have the second part of the alphabet is if you have 8 dot Braille. So you have the first range in this 28 is for 6 dots, and then you have another range to handle the second part. So let's see here. We have some text and we want to print some Braille. So let's do a string of this. And a string is just a bunch of characters. So we should be able to do a for loop on this text and have a string where this text is split by anything. So this should give us all the characters. So if we do a system out print line on this string, we should get all the characters. Let's see if that's true. And diamond operator is not supported. Yeah, so maybe we can look into this as well, because this is something I'm a little bit annoyed by. But you actually need to go in here and find the compiler settings for the Java compiler. And let's see here, target bytecode, let's say 8. And then we have some source perhaps. So there should be a source version or also for the compiler version perhaps. Compiler version, that's something that we already looked into. So you need to change this in actually a few different places. So here we need to set it to 8. And the module should be at 8, library should be at 8, and so on. So you need to look into that you actually have 8 everywhere, and then you can have properties, I believe it is, and then actually look sheet a little bit and look at another project here, because the Gradle file is, or the POM file, you actually need to add some extra things in order to get. Don't I have a good POM file somewhere? Perhaps not. So let's see if we import these changes, if we actually get module settings. Should be 8. Apply. Is that enough? Select language level 7. Okay. So did it update the POM file? Yeah. So here we can actually say 8. So this is another way to put it into your POM file and actually tell the compiler which version you want. Another way is to actually just set a level for it. So let's see here now if we can. So you can set it as a property as well. Yeah, so we get all the letters in a list here. So now we can work with each letter. So first up we can do just a simple change here. So we do to uppercase, and then we look in our translation and we get that like that, and then we need to have a string builder. So this is not important in newer version of Java, because actually standard string interpolations should be fast enough to handle all the cases of standard code. But in older versions, a string builder for things not going over a thread, or a string builder if you have threaded work, and string builder for non-threaded work in a single thread, and then string buffer for things in a threaded environment. And so let's see if we get some Braille now. If we just run it through our translate table there, and I added the space as well because I know there should be some spaces, we get a lot of nulls. So that didn't work. Because all these characters should be uppercase, right? So let's see, system out, line, and we will print some characters around it just to see that we don't get any extras. No, we don't. So why didn't this work? We have a translate that should include all these characters. So we should be able to find everything we have here. This is because we haven't actually ran the create map. So let's see if this works. Yeah. So now we actually have some Braille. Simple. And this is good, but I want to do something more here. I want actually to split this up into lines of 40, because if you print on a Braille paper, the paper has a specific width, and the Braille dots are quite large, so you can print in 30, 40, and I believe at 60, up to 60 characters on one sheet or one line. More than that can be hard to actually fit in or hard to read. So I want to do this, but I also want not to have any breaks in any words. So let's try to do that. Let's see here. So we will go through this, and let's say that we have this. Let's take words, and words are actually this string that we have, split it into something that has spaces, right? So that should be the distinction for words. So, and then we need to have another string builder. New string builder. Result. And then we can have a string builder for row. Yeah. So that's sort of thing. Or should we do? This is not something that we want any performance in. So let's just do a string. I think no. Undecisive. Let's do it like that. So we want to look here when we get a word, and we want to see if this word, if the row length plus the word length is larger than 40, yeah, then we want the result to have this new row. We can do an append is what you do. Append row to string, and then we want the result to have an extra line break like that. And then we want the row to have this new word. And then we want the row also to have append an extra space. And I believe here we can have a trim as well, so we don't have any excessive spaces on the end of each line. I believe we will have one extra line break after this, and this we can solve, and this is the way I solve it. There might be a better way to do this. I just say this is the first line. If it's not the first line, then I will append this, and after I have created this first line, I will set this to false, and that will not give us any extra line breaks after the last line. And if we do this, and after we're done with this, we need to have the result append the last row, so we don't forget about that row, and then we can do an output string. So let's do some test with this, and it seems like we have something here. Yeah, we don't reset the row. Row equals new string builder. So that's the part I might have missed here. Let's see if this will solve it. Yes. And I believe we need to do this down here as well, but we need to see if row length is larger than 0, then we want to do this, because we also want an extra line break because we put those first. So that's what we need. So there we go. Now we have some text down here that is actual, something that we can print if we like on paper. We might want to print this to a document. Let's try that. So we can take some more time here. Let's see. We can start off here with the string builder, doc, string builder. So this document is, we need to append something here. We can append some HTML. Yeah, let's do that, and some body, and then we can have the end of these as well. This will be a very simple document, and here we can say doc instead, and we remove that, and we say that this should be a paragraph, and let's do it the simpler way, just doc append paragraph, and then we append the paragraph after here. So this will create some kind of a document with paragraphs instead. And then we don't need to actually figure out if it's the last row, because that is not important. So we can remove some code that we worked with earlier. And doc was not a good name, so let's keep this result name. So let's do that. So now we should, if we just look at all the places so we didn't forget anywhere, we should get some HTML document with these p tags instead. Now let's just print that to a file. So we will create something that could print strings. So we need a file stream, I believe, file output stream, and that should be to index.html perhaps. New of those. File output stream. Fuzz. And then we need a string writer, perhaps. No, string writer. Output stream writer. New output stream writer. A writer is always good to have. You can put in the fuzz there. And then we should be able to write, and we can write strings. And just say result to string. Like that. Can flush that out and close it. I wonder if we need to close this as well, perhaps. So that should create an index file for us. And it seems like it did. Let me just bring up a browser tab here. Incognito window. We have one here. Let's see if we can bring that over to that one. Like that. So this is a Braille document that you should be able to print to a page using a Braille printer, and that will actually punctuate through the paper and push out so you can actually feel the dots. And if you can read Braille, you can actually read the first 4 letters here and see that this is a T, H, I, S, this. There is one complication that I actually forgot now that I think about it. It's if you have some word that starts with an uppercase letter, you will put an uppercase symbol first in that word. And if you have a full word that should be uppercased, you put 2 of those uppercase symbols before the word. And if you need to have a sentence or a longer string uppercase, you put 3 of those before, and that will signal that here starts uppercase text and it ends sometime later. So then you need to actually have 3 uppercase symbols at the end of that sentence to say that here the uppercasing is actually ending. So that is something we haven't really looked into here. So we need to see if this char here is uppercase. And that can be done by using a character is uppercase, and then take this as and get char at and the index 0. And if we have an uppercase character, then I will just put an uppercase symbol into the stream. This is not the right way to do it, because you need to do more analytics and find out if you can actually do this extra good things to handle words and so on that are uppercase. But I know that this is just a simple text with no range of longer uppercase. It's just some simple things like this has 1 letter that is uppercase. So I will take a little bit of a shortcut here, and let's see if we can just run that through. And if we look at this HTML document here, one more character in the beginning started off here. So this is just a dot in the last position of this 6-dot matrix that tells the reader that here is an uppercase letter. So this here, this word this starts with a large T, and then you have HIS. And then comes some other text here. We can open example.com. I'm not a Braille reader, so there should be domain as one word. Domain. So there's domain, and then we have a space again. So that's the way you create Braille text for people that have actually learned to read Braille, and that might be the preferred way for some people to read text. I hope that you liked this video. I hope that you learned something today. If you have any questions about how to use Jsoup to extract information from web pages, or if you are curious about Braille and how to create Braille, not read Braille, I'm not a Braille reader myself, or if you are have any question about anything that I showed today, or if you have any suggestions how you can improve this process. But I just wanted to do some simple coding to inspire and show what you can accomplish if you just write something. And sometimes you just need to write something stupid, or something that you really don't need or can use in order to learn some techniques or try a new library out or anything like that. And I think it's important to always keep iterating on your skills, so you can hone your skills and figure out how some things are used, so you can use them on in your work. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues, and I really hope to see you in the next video.